Hey, this is John Ruland with Spider Goat Games, and you're listening to Legends of Tabletop, or watching, whatever. Whatever you prefer. Mhm.
Hey everybody, this is episode 81 of the Legends of Tabletop podcast. Thanks for tuning in and or downloading or playing. We've got John tonight, no Vince still. I thought he was coming back for December, but he had a prior engagement for this evening, so we're just going to forge ahead without him as we've been doing. So how's it going, John? How you been?
I've been pretty good. Got some new games coming up. On the downside, I was laid off from my day job, but that's not such a bad deal because that's long story short. It's not such a bad deal.
All right, that's fair. I was going to ask you, so we have a thing at the top called Something Cool. What kind of cool things have been going on? I'm assuming losing your job is not one of the cool things.
Actually, no, it probably is in the long run, but that job wasn't the greatest. But the cool things, we've been getting a lot of really great feedback with martial art. People have been actually someone posted in the forums. He liked the game so much he was wondering why there wasn't more talk about it going on. The reason for that is we don't have a ton of reach because we're just a few people doing this
Sure.
in our spare time. But we got an expansion of martial art that we're working on, and a couple more card games. One of which is actually pretty. I don't want to say revolutionary because that's pretentious, but it's very, very different from anything that we've done or played before. So I'm really excited about those.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So I guess we could backtrack a little bit. So I met you at RinCon this past October. It was my first one. Have you been going for the last couple of years, or was this? Well, you went in 15, right, for Gangster Dice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've been going to Rincon for about ever since I knew about it, probably 2011 maybe. Even past 4 or 5 years. So I love Rincon because it's a local. Obviously, I can just kind of drive there, but
Hmm.
it's also just a really chill environment, and there's so many people there from around town. So it's a great convention.
Yeah, very intimate. I think when I had Seth Jaffe on, I don't know, last month, and he said they had about 500 or so people. So it was cool because you get to see the same people, all weekend long, and play games together and stuff. So it's very cool for me for my first experience going. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
And you guys had a table there. I sat down with you. I think not very long after getting there on Saturday morning, and demoed martial art for me.
Mhm.
One of the games that you guys have available. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, martial art is it's called martial art because it's a battle game, hence the martial and art, because we took this historic Japanese artwork, and one of our pieces is the iconic Great Wave. That's been in so many different things. You may recognize it. Um, it's a pretty simple mechanic. So it's a lot like war. Yeah, there it is. And see that cover art there is actually a good example of yep, there it is, Great Wave. Yeah, it's basically like war. Everyone plays a card. The highest card wins, but each card has special abilities, and the goal of the game is to sort of gather land, um, and you need 12 land points to win. The first person to do that becomes shogun. So it's kind of a classic shogun, age of the country at war sort of theme. But what makes it really appealing to a lot of people is the artwork that we've sort of curated here.
Mm-hmm.
It's all pre 1900. Much of it is historic. Yep, there's our samurai card.
All
Um,
right. I'll lock on to me. We'll throw some cards up here. Not that anybody listening will be able to see it, but
yeah, it's just we've sort of just found the best artwork that we could find to convey the cards, and they're just beautiful. So our graphic designer Danielle has done an excellent job putting together the cards and sort of showcasing the art. You may notice we did full art cards,
mm-hmm.
just so we
Edge to
can
edge.
Yeah, just so we could get so much of the art onto the cards.
Yeah, I think that really works well. I think the border would it would just throw it off. It's really beautiful, edge to edge. And the art is amazing.
Yeah.
When I sat down and played, I was like, sure, whatever. I'll play something up here, and I was like, this is really cool. And it was super easy to pick up because it is like a very simple like war style mechanic with that twist of, okay, this card's a 3, or if I play it during battle, and the other card is less than something else, I can add them together. So there's all this interplay between the cards and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we did a very good job of streamlining this game so that most of the complexity is actually hidden from the player. You can literally teach the game in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And however, there is actually a surprising amount of skill. It's not going to be, magic or anything because, it's just a 72 card game. But it's very simple and surprisingly strategic and very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I like, especially I like the 2-player stuff because I play with my brother a lot. So it's just, I'm going to try to out-strategize you and, like the assassin card. So if the other player plays a card that has a rank of 10 or higher, it makes it a 0 and you win. So there's always that, sort of give and take and, trying to, figure out what the other person's doing. And for him and I, it's fantastic because it's always, screw you, I won.
Yeah, actually, the original design for this game, I originally made it to play with my girlfriend, and she ended up loving it. And then I brought it to the crew, and Adrian is the other guy who does a lot of the design at Spider Goat, and he came up with a version of it that was much more streamlined and even more strategic. So we kind of went from there, and it kind of grew into a game that you can play with up to 4 people, and like I said before, it has surprising strategic depth.
So when I was looking through the blog, you said you can play with up to 4 people. In the current iteration, you need 2 decks to play with 4 people, so it's essentially 2-person game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one deck. One deck is it's really just the land that you need. It has enough land to play with 2 people, and then the second deck will let you play with 4. You can play with more, but after 4 people, the amount of interaction kind of becomes sort of chaotic and random because there's so many people playing cards with effects. So,
Sure.
Yeah, 1 deck for 2 players, 2 decks for up to 4.
Cool. All right. And then your other game, which I also got to play, was Gangster Dice. You want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, Gangster Dice, that was our very first game that we published. We did it on Kickstarter 2 years ago. Or more like a year and a half. But it's a sort of classical 1920s era Dick Tracy style gangsters for a theme, and it uses dice, obviously. And it's a little different from any of the mechanics in games that I have played so far. That's why we made it. We wanted to make something different. The idea is that you cat. Is that the idea is that you have these dice. You start the game with these dice, and they're sort of the evidence against you, and you're trying to get rid of them to be proven innocent and escape the cops. So much of the game revolves around getting your dice into a position where you can give them all away quickly, because as you lose dice, your ability to do things diminishes. So you want to get into a position where you don't lose too many dice too quickly, but then you can give them all away as fast as possible and win.
Right. And you have character cards, so each there's maybe about 10 or 15 of them or something. It looked like there was a bunch. I don't remember the exact number now, but so you pick a character, and then that character has a special ability that you can use when you're rolling dice and trying to get stuff. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. We have the normal game has 10, and the expansion has 8. So here's one here. Freaky Frankie. He's a favorite because he's kind of a Yahtzee type player, and who doesn't love rolling dice and getting a Yahtzee?
Mm-hmm.
And there's there's a classic gangster right there. So the game has 10 base game characters and 8 expansion characters. And this game can be played with up to 5.
Cool. Yeah, it was fun. Custom dice are always a lot of fun, and they're 3 different colors. So you've got the custom icons, and then a couple different colors, which figure into the mechanic as far as being able to get rid of your dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the tactile feel of rolling dice is always, it's just, who doesn't love rolling dice? I mean, especially when they're custom dice. So that it's just always fun to play this game and just sometimes just get as many dice as you can, even though that's not usually a good thing, and just have a big pool of dice to roll. So yeah, it's still fun.
Cool. And they're both available on the website now?
They are, yes. SpiderGoatGames.com.
Awesome. Also in the show notes. When you went and attempted to kickstart Gangster Dice the first time, you guys wound up canceling it.
Yeah.
What happened with that? What kind of lessons did you guys take out of that?
Yeah, so biggest thing for any aspiring project creators out there we found was that we believed that Gangster Dice was an excellent game and a fantastic new mechanic that people would love. But that doesn't matter because we didn't have any outreach at all. So the idea of build a better mousetrap and the world will be the path to your door, not true. You have to word of mouth can help, but people need to, if your product is good enough, but you need to make sure that the word gets out there. So we did a much better job the second time around. We lined up family and friends to help get us that initial bump at the start, so it looked like people, so people are actually backing it. And then we had reviewers do previews and reviews, things like that. And then for martial art, we made sure to do that sort of thing as well. And also, we made a fantastic looking product or project page. And that is essential. The Japanese artwork really helped to draw a lot of people. And on Kickstarter, presentation really is the main thing. It's king.
Mm-hmm. You got to have a good video. Everything's got to be clear on the page, concise, show a lot of art. It's a pretty big undertaking.
Yes. Yeah, our art is king. Show good art, and people are immediately interested. It's just human. It's kind of a way to to pique your interest. So that art is really, really important.
Well, and I from a customer standpoint, I think the choice to go with the Japanese art was amazing. Comparing that on the blog to some of the art that you had for like a medieval themed game.
Yeah,
there's really no comparison. Like, as cool as the assassin card might be, the Japanese cards are so much better.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we wanted to do a medieval theme originally, but the available art just wasn't there. If you look at medieval European art, it's bad. It just looks really bad. It doesn't get really good until about the Renaissance. So that's when we decided to look at Japanese art instead, and we found the treasure trove of all this amazing artwork that's just out there.
I tell you, the last handful of games that I bought, it's got to be the last 4 or 5, all had Japanese theme. Lanterns, martial arts. I have Batu, Age of War, like all these different things. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but I really love all these games.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Japan's the West's cultural gateway to the East. So it's the Japanese theme is pretty big.
Yeah. Now, so were you able to procure art that was in public domain for that, or did you have someone commissioned to do art specifically for martial art?
We had our we didn't do any of the actual artwork ourselves. We were able to find online archives of art in the public domain, and we made absolutely sure that it was all public domain because you never want to mess around with that stuff. Mm-hmm. That was mostly done by the other 3 people on our team as far as finding the artwork, and then of course Danielle, our artist / graphic designer, she did all the art for Gangster Dice. She had to put it all together on the cards and make it look pretty, and I think she did a fantastic job of that. Really sort of jumps out at you.
Yep, mission accomplished for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And that's cool too, because such a huge chunk of a Kickstarter's revenue, as it were, goes to art, art and production and shipping. So to be
Yes.
able to sort of eliminate that's a boon for you guys as developers and designers.
Oh yeah, she's been amazing. It's we've given her a share of the company, so she's it helps keep people engaged. I think if they feel like they're working on a thing that they themselves possess. Yeah, she's been amazing. I don't know what we would have done without her, honestly, because paying a graphic designer or artist is quite expensive. So our funding goals wouldn't have been as low as we had made them. Would have had to be higher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's five of you guys are all friends here from Tucson. Is that how all Spider got started?
Yeah, there's four of us officially, and other people help out. There's me, Danielle, Aaron, and Adrian. Me and Adrian are friends back from Michigan. We met Aaron and Danielle here in Tucson playing games.
Cool. Do you have a store of choice? And we've got, I guess, about 6 or 7 different FLGSs here in Tucson. You guys frequent one more than the other?
Well, it's not that we necessarily prefer one over the other. Our two main haunts are Tucson Games and Gadgets and Isle of Games. Both are amazing stores. But TGG is easier for all of us to reach because it's right in the middle of town. So that's where we generally go. Great people at both stores.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I usually wind up over at Isle. So every store does a little bit. Not that anybody's not here in Tucson is going to care, but each store has like a little bit of a different thing. Like Heroes and Villains, they do the table games, but they have the comic shop. And Isle of Games has more board games. Tucson Games and Gadgets has more like X-Wing and a lot of that sort of stuff. So each store has its own kind of little thing.
Yeah, its own personality. And of course, Amazing Discoveries is the Magic store that also your board games. So. We tried that out a bit as well when we first arrived in Tucson, but it's a good place to go play Magic, but not so much board games.
Yeah, a couple of times I've been in there, it's table after table, guys playing Magic.
Yeah, which is cool.
Not my thing.
It's cool, it's its own thing, but if we're going to somewhere to play board games, places that they're specialized in board games are much better.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you more of a board game player than an RPG player, or do you do both?
Oh yeah, I do both. I'm much more of a board gamer though. I've played my share of RPGs. Surprisingly, not in many of the mainstream ones. Most of the campaigns I've done where it was actually a system that Adrian made, and that was surprisingly fun for something that a guy made when he was about 22. So that's been great. But yeah, mostly board games. That whole strategic feel is what really draws me, and also the tactile feel of placing cards or holding cards and placing houses and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a particular style, like a Euro game or worker placement, a set collection? Is there anything that really kind of sucks you in? You're like, oh, that's it right there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I am partial to card games because I like having a hand you can look at and having just a list, like sort of a list of options you can do. But I kind of really like everything. Everything from Euro to Ameritrash to a quick dice game. Whatever is good. I like things that are good. If a game feels sloppy, then I kind of feel a little angry, honestly, because the amount of time we spent streamlining martial art, I kind of feel like other people can do the same. Although, that may seem a little pretentious again, but I like games that are streamlined.
So when you play, do you are you filing things away in the back of your head as you're playing? Like, oh, I like this mechanic, or I don't like that mechanic, or this interaction in game.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's kind of a curse not to be able to play a game and not analyze it. But I love playing a game that has a new mechanic that it does really well, even if other parts of the game aren't put together super well. Because I mean, let's be honest, if martial arts are a really small game, if you put in together a huge Euro game, that's a lot more design work. So I'm much more willing to forgive things if it's a much larger, grander game with a cool mechanic. Yeah.
Mm. Now, when you guys start, obviously theme is important, to a lot of people, like an art, all that kind of stuff kind of catches your eye. Do you guys try to come up with a theme first? You look at mechanics first? Is it a blending of the two? It just kind of depends on the game.
It's mostly mechanics first, theme second. Trying to design from a theme perspective, you end up with a fantasy flight game. I kind of feel that's what they do. That's what Ameritrash games are like. We go more for smoother gameplay, and on the other hand, though, it's very important that the theme is very, very engaging, because theme is usually what intrigues people to play the game in the first place. And it's a huge part of what makes the game fun. Like you go and play Arkham Horror, and it's, the mechanics are a bit unwieldy, but it's a really cool feeling of sort of fighting against the great old ones and their minions, and it's just really engaging that way. So we make sure we start from a mechanic standpoint, so the games are smooth, but you got to make sure that mechanic is really good. Or I'm sorry, the theme.
Mm-hmm. Is there a local like design group that you guys are a part of? Do you play test mostly in house? Do you play test over at Isle or Tucson Games and Gadgets?
Mostly in house. Our process is sort of we have an idea for a game, we work on it, we put it together, and then we bring it to our group and see how it goes over. We've had plenty that have gone over poorly, many more than have gone over well. Most of them go poorly, but the good ones we analyze what could go better, what's fun about them, and then see if we can go from there. Have done a lot of play testing actually with Seth as well. He brings a lot of prototypes around. It's cool to see the new games that TMG is making. That's always fun to see those new things coming out from him too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Let's see. Lost my train of thought now. I was thinking about grabbing a beer. So how long, for the two games that you have developed, Martial Art and Gangster Dice, how long did each game take to bring to market from inception to Kickstarter?
From inception to the start of our Kickstarter campaign,
mm-hmm.
Probably about a year for each one.
It's not bad.
Yeah, maybe Gangster Dice a little more, because it depends on whether you count the first launch or the second launch. We want to make sure that our games are fully play tested, and make sure any serious problems are removed from them. Because I've gotten plenty of games from Kickstarter that they may do something cool and interesting or have great art, but then you sit down and play them, and you're having a good time, but after half an hour you realize a glaring problem that totally breaks the game. So we want to make sure our games are not like that. We want everyone to know that our games are going to be thoroughly vetted before we release them to the world. Sure.
And speaking of Kickstarter, you look like you're a fairly active backer yourself.
Yeah, I am. I've mostly been doing the smaller games because, partially because I like smaller games, but also partially because that's what we're doing right now. So kind of helps me learn the way Kickstarter works and what comes out of Kickstarter. And so, yeah, I mean, one game I played recently was Dark Dealings. It's a game where you're a Dark Lord, and heroes are coming to defeat you, and you have to sort of kill them before they defeat you. So that one's a lot of fun. That one's really well made, really well streamlined. It's probably the most streamlined and polished game that I've gotten from Kickstarter so far. The one thing I will say about it is that people don't always want to play it because there's a lot of memory involved, and that can be stressful. But I like it.
Have there been many games? Have you ever been screwed on a Kickstarter? As many as that you backed?
Yeah. There was one game I was really looking forward to called Maze Master. It was in Britain that it was being produced, and the reason that's relevant is because it fell through completely, and someone else picked up the game and tried to fulfill most people's pledges, and they started with the people who had the smallest shipping costs because they wanted to ship out as many games as they could. So I ended up not getting my game over here in the USA at all.
Yeah,
so that was frustrating because that game looked really fun.
Right. Well, because you hear, I haven't backed a ton of games, but I backed a bunch, and knock on wood, I've never had a problem. But you do hear, obviously there's the really big ones where they go down in flames, and somebody walks away with $500,000 or whatever. But you throw a $10 here, $20 there, and you're kind of like, Yeah,
I lost $30 in that game, but oh well. It's the only one I've backed. How many games? I've backed a lot of projects. Not all of them are games, but I've probably gotten at least 30 games through Kickstarter, and that's the only one I've been completely burned on.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's a pretty good track record.
Yeah. That's one thing I hope that we never do is completely burn people, because if that ends up happening, we're done with publishing games. No one will trust us again.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are doing your homework, and you've got two successful under your belt now. So you're a pro at this now.
Yeah, we know what to do. Outreach is still something we're struggling with. Like I said, someone posted on our forums the other day, like, why isn't there more talk about this game? So we're working on that as well, and right now.
You're right.
So that's a big thing that we're working on. But it helps to have that experience to know. It's just the third campaign. First one went horribly. Second one went reasonably well. Third one went way better than we expected.
So were you prepared? I guess with canceling the first one, were you unprepared for the amount of work or whatever was entailed with the initial Kickstarter? Was it kind of a surprise when you jumped in? You're like, we'll post it and we'll make some money and then we'll make the game and we'll send it out.
We weren't prepared. It wasn't really a question of work. We just didn't know what we were doing. So we were disappointed, especially because it's Kickstarter, so you the whole purpose is, at least in your first campaign or so, your family and friends are supposed to help you kickstart the thing you're doing, and then that should lead to other people backing it and so on, and actually getting it to the people who are actually the market for that sort of thing. But we didn't coordinate that very well. And like I said, we didn't have our outreach to reviewers and such going very well either. So, it was a bit of a surprise that we failed so badly.
Yeah. So in doing research to, find out as much as I could about you guys beforehand, it looked like you weren't super active on social media, like Twitter, Facebook, and things like that. Is just a time issue, or because we have all this, Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and it's a huge time sink.
To
get all the things out.
Yeah, it sure is. It's a huge time sink. The other people in Spider Goat don't. They're not really into social media a lot. So it's mostly just me. doing the marketing stuff, but we're working on stuff right now where they can sort of help me out. And it's just they don't really want to be in the spotlight or anything. That's fine. But it's mostly just the fact that it's pretty much just me doing any outreach.
Sure.
So some people do, everyone tells their friends about it and such, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, it makes it tough when you're the only one doing it.
Yeah.
For sure. What are you playing these days? Any favorite that's making it to the table more often than not?
Well, yesterday I just played Mystic Vale for the first time. That game is great. It's super easy to pick up if you ever played a deck building game, and beautiful art, as I mentioned before. It's huge. So that made me really interested, of course, and then the whole card building idea made me really interested. And then I finally got to play it for the first time last night, and can't wait to play it again. But I don't own the game, so I have to wait till that guy's available again.
Is that the one where one person plays the spirit and you're trying to communicate with the other players via?
That's Mysterium. I haven't played that.
Oh, Mysterium.
I would love
Okay,
to play that game, but Mystic Vale is a card building game where you buy things to put in your cards. Each card has a sleeve. It's a giant card, and it's sleeved, and you can insert things into the card sleeve to build the card up. Transparent plastic inserts, and you sort of build cards that way, so that your cards get more powerful as the game goes on. Very cool.
Interesting. Okay. So have you always been a gamer yourself? Was this something you came to college, or you start out with Monopoly and Parcheesi and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, I've kind of always been a gamer. I used to play war games like Axis and Allies with my dad back in the day. I picked up Warhammer when I was about 14, and then I played various other board games here and there, but didn't really get into it until about 6 years ago, when I sort of discovered the world of modern board games, and that was cool to find. All the different games, all the new innovative games that are just so much better than a lot of the old games that are considered classics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the new non-traditional styles.
Games. Yep.
We have a board game meetup here, and I'm down in Sarita, and we've got a lot of older folks out here, so we get all kinds when it comes to the board game meetup, and it's always, I bring everything or as much as I can because you never know who's going to come, and there's certain games you can't play with certain people, and it's like, hey, we don't have Yahtzee. I mean, it says on the meetup, it's not that kind of a meetup.
I'm not interested in playing games like Jenga, but a lot of people, you say board games, and people who don't play a lot of strategy board games, they think of you like Monopoly or Jenga. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's cool. It's been interesting for me because I come from that. Like, I play a lot of Pinochle and card games, and I'm more of an RPG guy myself. But with the podcast, I've got more into board games, and it really gets a hold on you. You play one thing, and then it's like, oh, this is cool. What about that thing? And then somebody brings something else, and the whole shelf full of games now.
Yeah, I have. I'm looking at my 2 giant shelves that are just bursting with games over there. It's hard to control yourself when there's that many cool things out there.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my brother about Kickstarter, and I'm like, I backed a couple of things, and then I went, and I'm like, I backed like 30 things already. What the hell?
Yeah, because it's so easy to just scroll through there and see things that, ooh, that looks cool, and you click either remind me or the pledge, and that's just one more game. What's one more game? And before you know it, gets and
yep, this one's only $20. Oh, that one's only $30. And then the bill comes due at the end of the month. You're like, oh my god, I bought like $400 worth of games.
Yeah, very easy to do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's crazy. Do you have any advice for someone who would be interested in getting into board game design?
Getting into board game design, well, the biggest thing is you need people who are interested in playing the games that you design. And so make friends, uh, and of course reciprocate, test their games if they make them. And also make sure that the game that you're presenting to them is produced and polished as best you can before asking them to spend their precious time playtesting it. Because if you give them a bunch of cards that are written on cardboard notes and in your own handwriting, and the gameplay doesn't work at all, you're just wasting their time. So they're doing you a favor. Make sure that you give them the best possible thing you can. That you've gone as far as you can with the game and production without getting player input before you give it to people to test.
And probably beer and pizza too.
Oh yes, that of course will help.
All right. When did you guys start Spider Goat, and what was sort of the impetus behind it?
We started 2013, I think. We always had sort of wanted to make games. We originally wanted to make video games, but that industry kind of sucks. And we kind of lost interest in a lot of video games and moved more toward board games. Well, okay, I should clarify what I mean by that industry sucks. It's working in that industry is, I've heard it can be, well, first of all, you usually don't get to design anything. You just end up either programming or testing.
Right.
Second, the hours they expect you to work and the pay you get is pretty bad in general.
Mm-hmm.
So so we wanted to make games, and we were moving more toward board games, and so we thought about publishing our own games, because you can design a game and send it to a publisher, but there are thousands of people who do that already, and if I kind of feel like if you want something to happen, you got to make it happen yourself, and actually publishing a game yourself is the best way to do that. So we started Spider Goat Games and decided we were going to make our own games. And with martial art, it started to go very well. Gangster Dice, we lost money on, but martial art has been, getting a little bit of that back. So the best thing is that people really like it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It seemed like there was people around your table all weekend, so that's definitely a good sign.
yeah, very, very good. That's really the ultimate litmus test of whether your game is good when you're testing it. Is if people want to play again, there's something good there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love a portable game, something that's quick or whatever, and I throw stuff in my backpack. We play games at work. I go to my parents' house, I'll throw something in there. You can throw it in a cargo pants pocket. It's good. It's fun. Like I said, it's strategic enough if you really sort of get into it, or you could just go, okay, we're playing war and we're just doing that.
You can go. I'm going to figure out this game and figure out what the best strategy could be, or you could just say, "Ooh, I want to play this card and see what it does." And so I think it's good, especially to play with your parents, probably.
Yeah, my dad hates everything. It's like pulling teeth to try to get him to play something. I bought Seven Ronin. Have you had a chance to play that one?
No, I have not actually.
I guess I don't remember the designer is Polish, or two guys, I guess.
7 Ronin or 47 Ronin?
7 Ronin.
Okay.
It was picked up by Gray Fox, and they released it here in August. Actually, I picked it up at Rincon, as a matter of fact.
Oh, cool.
And I was trying to show my brother how to play, and he hates it. I don't understand. I love that game. It's so much fun. So my dad walks over to the table and was like, I don't know what you guys are doing. There's too much going on. And I'm like, it's really not, though.
Yeah, a lot of games do look like there's a ton going on. What was a game? Yokohama, another TMG game. I backed that one on Kickstarter. That one's going to be really good. Yokohama looks like there's so much stuff going on. Oh, another Japanese theme game.
Yeah.
It looks like there's. It just looks like there's so much stuff going on. When Seth explained the rules, I was like, basically said, okay, let's see how this goes. And then as soon as I started playing, everything made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they can look pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I see pictures on Twitter all the time. People have the games all laid out in mid game, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many pieces. How the hell do you know what's going on?
How to make sense of all that chaos?
Yeah. Well, they go back to designing and spider gun and all that kind of stuff. Now with Kickstarter, it's so much easier, or the threshold is that much lower. Because a lot of companies they don't want you to send stuff in because they have things they're working on, and potential conflict if they have something that's similar already. So having Kickstarter as something that's, and it's less of a proof of concept now than when it originally started. And now it's like, hey, I'm ready to go. I just need money to make it now. Like we're good.
Yeah. The Kickstarter is. I'm not sure what we would do without Kickstarter. The threshold, as you said, it would be a lot higher. You need a lot more funding and marketing. So I don't know what we do. It's really changed the industry and let more people get into it. And I think that's probably a net positive for people who just play games as well, because there's no sort of gateway of a large company. There are a lot more games that can come out, and a lot more ideas that can get vetted, and the best ones will become popular, and casual gamers can pick those up, even if they never open Kickstarter once. They may end up playing a game that was funded through Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yeah, for sure. It's really cool. I mean, there's some dreck out there too. Not everything is a winner, I suppose, but
yes. So there's a downside too, in that there is a lot of unpolished stuff out there. But I think overall it's a net positive for the gaming industry.
Oh, sure. And it lights a fire under those guys too, because like you said, there's not one entity then that's the arbiter of what's being released and what they think is going to be successful. Because like music, so there's a game like this, so if we make this game that's really similar and we just slap a different theme on it, they're going to play this too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes them think a little bit more broadly than they would have in the past, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so.
Although a lot of the smaller companies, like, I don't want to say smaller, that may be offensive, but like, Stronghold or Tasty Minstrel or, any of those guys, I think they're probably a lot more in touch than say, like a Parker Brothers or something. I mean, they just put out whatever they put out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know Seth is always getting around and just talking to gamers and just gaming. And so, he's really in tune.
Yeah, that's a really cool experience to have that sort of, interplay with somebody who's working at the company. Now, did you guys get a lot of interaction on the Kickstarter when you were doing it?
We were really happy to have that. The biggest interaction came from, we would actually post artwork that we were thinking about using for the game, and we would compare two against each other, and we'd have our backers vote on which they thought was best. And that did two things. One, it engaged people, and they kind of got to feel like they were a part of it. And two, it helped us decide, if there was an internal disagreement, which one do we want to use. It helped us sort of to get outside input as well. So that was great.
Well, that's cool. And you said you guys or have a couple of things in the works right now that you're.
Yes, we do. So we've got an expansion to martial arts that will probably be late next year. A game we're hoping to launch early next year is a haunted house themed game. This is the one I was saying that was very, very different. It's a cooperative game. It's just a single deck of cards like martial art. The setup is that it's England in the first half of the 20th century, maybe World War II. and Elizabeth and her younger brother James go to their grandfather's old house, and just by themselves. And Elizabeth wakes up in the middle of the night, and James is gone, and she has to go and find him. And so, helping Elizabeth are the friendly spirits of her grandma and grandpa and other ancestors, sort of whispering to her about dangers in the house and places she should go and places she should not go. So one person will play Elizabeth, and the other people play the spirits, and they have one word they can say. They'll draw a card, and they'll have one word that they can say to convey information to Elizabeth about what is on the card. And Elizabeth can decide to either have them keep that card or discard that card. And at the end of the round, the spirits reveal all the cards, and it's sort of like a push your luck game. So you find out if you bust or not, and obviously you want to search as many rooms as possible. And yeah, it's really exciting. We've been struggling to get it to a point where it's smooth and makes sense, but because I haven't heard of a game with that sort of mechanic before. It's pretty new, but we think we've got a version that works very well and is really exciting. So hopefully that'll be coming to Kickstarter in February or March.
February or March. Okay, cool. Sounds good. I saw the art on the blog. If that's the art that you're going with, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah. That's Danielle's art there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's very good. For an amateur artist, I mean, even for a professional artist, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, when I was going through, I was like, wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She had this sort of Tim Burton style art idea, and when she showed me her first sort of concept sketch, I was like, oh wow, yeah, that makes me want to play the game. So that's moving along.
Nice. If you need reviewers, I'll just throw that out there. We're on.
Yeah, we certainly will. A big part of it is actually going to be, because it's so different, we don't know if the game will actually quote unquote work. So we're going to have to, pretty soon we're going to have to show it to some people before we go all the way with making all the art and everything, and see if the game actually does work. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you in the loop about that.
Cool. Yeah, when you spend so much time with something and you know all the ins and outs, sometimes it's hard to see if people are gonna how things are working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really need fresh eyes. Once we have our there are 4 of us and then a few other people who have been helping with it, but you have to show some sort of polished thing to fresh eyes at some point to really get a perspective on how the game actually is. Because when people get that game in the mail, they're going to open it up and they're not going to know how to play it. They're not going to know any of the tricks. if they don't understand how it works, if they can't figure it out, the game is a bust. So yeah, we're going to have to show it to some fresh eyes and not too long.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, we'll keep a spot open for you come February or March. You want to come on and talk about what you have happening and make sure we get the promotion out there.
Oh yeah, that'd be excellent.
Cool. Very cool. So I kept you for about an hour, and maybe we should probably roll into the final 5 and start to wind this thing down.
Sounds good.
All right. So we have 5 geeky/nerdy questions. It's kind of an either or, although you can cop out and say both. I mean, that's up to you. So I'll hit you with the first one. It's Star Trek or Star Wars.
Yes. All right. So this one's kind of a both, but I think I do lean towards Star Wars just because of the spectacle. But I like the philosophy behind Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. 2 completely different worldviews.
Yeah, very, very, very different.
Do you have your tickets for next weekend for Star Wars?
I don't. I've kind of given up going opening weekend to things like this because it gets so chaotic. But I will be going the first week for sure. I'm very, very excited.
I'm debating on whether or not I should get tickets for Friday early because I don't work on Friday. So I'm like, I could go at like 11. Maybe it won't be too busy.
That's a good point. Neither do I right now. So maybe I
That's a
will
date.
do that. You just gave me an idea. All right.
Cool. All right. Tabletop or video games?
Tabletop. I mean, video games. I kind of feel like it's mostly a solitary thing, and they're great for what they are. But tabletop is you get to sit around with friends and joke around and just have actual things in your hand that you're playing with. So, yep, tabletop for sure.
Well, if you're video gaming, you can yell at your friends about all the nasty things you're going to do to their mother. I mean, there's
Yeah, that's
that.
true. Yeah, yeah, through the headset or whatever.
Yeah. All right. DC or Marvel?
Um, Marvel. I mean, DC they don't do very well with their movies, unfortunately. I feel.
Yeah. Their TV's not so bad.
Mm-hmm. No,
Flash and.
they did. Did they do the Dark Knight trilogy?
Well, yeah. So the Christian Bale. Well, I mean it should really be Batman or Marvel, right? I mean.
Yeah. Yes. Because the Dark Knight trilogy, I will say the Dark Knight is my favorite superhero movie ever. So aside from that, I would go with Marvel.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Sci-fi or fantasy?
In what media?
Ooh, interesting. You choose.
Well, let's see. For I would go sci-fi for books, and for visual media, I would go with fantasy. It goes back to the spectacle. For fantasy and for sci-fi, I feel like so much of sci-fi that I at least like is about ideas. I just read what is it called, Blind Sight, recently. That's a game, or it's a book about first contact with an alien species in the post-singularity future, so into the 21st century type of deal. And there's no way that could possibly be translated into a movie. But
Yeah.
the ideas involved are amazing. And then with fantasy, just look at Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's a great read as well. But the way it came out on the big screen was just fantastic. So
Yeah.
I would go books for sci-fi and screens for fantasy.
Okay. Did you catch Westworld at all, or are you into that?
Yes, that was fantastic as well. That was a good, actually, thinking sort of sci-fi, sort of thinking visual sci-fi story. Don't know how else to put it, but that was very good.
Yeah, I just watched the season finale last night, and like 2 episodes before, when you find out what you find out, I'm like, wow, really? I would never saw that coming. And then you get to the end, and I'm like, oh my god, like almost half of the season. I don't know, spoilers. People didn't watch it yet, but yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah, mind bending.
Yeah, all kinds of twists and turns that I didn't expect.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like there's a little bit of Battlestar Galactica in it as well. Hint, hint. Not to give anything away if people haven't seen it, but yeah, that was a little bit of the feeling I got.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm looking, but 2018 is what I heard when it's coming back. That seems really like an odd. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's longer than I want to wait.
Yeah, especially as much buzz as it has. Like, 2018 rolls around, you forget everything that that happened before that. Yeah,
well, my guess is, it seemed like a pretty big budget production, so they were probably waiting to renew it to see how much interest it got.
Yeah,
that's probably why it'll be later.
Yeah, well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one is, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
The ability to bring peace and happiness all over the world. No, I'm just kidding. That's boring.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Flying has always been an intriguing thing. Earthbending from Avatar.
Avatar's awesome.
Yeah, earthbending would be cool as well. So maybe one of those would be a great superpower to have.
Cool. I'm assuming you enjoyed Avatar when it came out?
Yes, I purposefully have not watched the movie because I don't want any of it ruined. So
It's terrible. It's the
yeah,
worst.
got like single-digit percentage points on Rotten Tomatoes, and that means it's awful. So I don't want that ruined for me.
Well, it was such a weird choice of director to have M. Night Shyamalan. Like,
Yeah,
that made no sense. But we saw it because I love the cartoon. It's
yeah.
amazing. It was one of the best shows on TV at that time, bar none. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was, I mean, it was amazing. It looks. I mean, it was a kid show kind of, but it's really not. So it's kind of. First of all, it's an anime that turns a lot of people off. A second, it looks like a kid show that turns a lot of people off. But as soon as you convince someone to watch it, like my friend, it took me a lot of convincing. My friends had to convince me. But as soon as you actually sit down and start watching it, you see what you've been missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a kids show, it had a lot of adult themes, and
Yep.
it was funny and it was poignant, and it had all those.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie had none of that, none of the humor. I was so pissed, so mad. Did you follow up with Korra? Did you like Korra, or did you catch it, or no?
I didn't watch Korra. A couple of friends of mine watched it. They said it was good, but it didn't have quite the charm of Avatar.
Yeah.
So my TV viewing is rather limited. Well, it has been until last week, but yeah. So I haven't gotten to that yet.
I DVR everything because I never have time to actually sit and watch anything in real time. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, we don't even have cable. We just get Hulu, Netflix, all that good stuff.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's a lot of good stuff on there now. People working with me. Oh, I watched this movie on Netflix or this new series. I'm like, I don't have it. You don't have Netflix? No, I pay for Dish, so I'm not paying for anything else.
Yeah. TV is pretty expensive by itself without having to add Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to look into it a little bit, and I'm like, the devil that you know, as opposed to
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm getting used to make the switch for sure.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to give out all of your details there again? Website, contact stuff, all that jazz?
Yeah. Spider Goat Games, www.spidergoatgames.com. We have 2 games out right now: Martial Art and Gangster Dice. Martial Art looks amazing. Gangster Dice has a very unique mechanic. And we'll be looking to launch another game this coming year, hopefully 2 or 3. But the game we're tentatively calling Evil House for now it should be coming out early spring.
Cool, that's awesome, and you'll find out all about it here on the Legends of Tabletop podcast when John comes back.
Yep.
Both of those games are amazing. You should go to the website, which is in the show notes, and purchase both. Do that now. You could have them for Christmas. They're a lot of fun. It's inexpensive. You're not going to spend an arm and a leg. So it's definitely worthwhile, and super portably. Throw them in a bag, take them with you, and it's aces.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that ringing endorsement.
Yep, I got to play both at RainCon, and I enjoyed them both, and it's pretty cool.
I'm very glad.
I will give out all of our details now, as I am wont to do. You can find this awesome podcast and all of our other stuff and some of our affiliate stuff at legendsoftabletop.com. You can find us on Twitter at Legends Tabletop, no of. We're on Instagram, Tumblr. We're on a lot of different sites. We're on iTunes. You can hit the SoundCloud feed. Please download, leave feedback, leave reviews. We appreciate all that kind of stuff. We love talking to you guys and interacting on Twitter and all the other stuff. So thank you for that. I want to thank John for coming on and spending his time after, I was going to say after work, but I guess that's actually not the case now.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No, thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely, we want to help promote you guys, a local company here to Tucson, putting out awesome games. We're practically neighbors, so
Mhm.
we want to do our part to make sure you guys are doing good.
Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks everybody for checking it out, and we'll catch you next time.